Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio. Hi, good evening, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself, Southside, on the show this evening is AK and GB. How are you guys?
Evening Southside, evening GB, evening everybody that's listening Rangers Radio.
Evening lads, glad to be on with you on a nice Friday night, mate, and hopefully plenty to talk about, mate.
Hi, what difference a week makes, guys, for the last Friday. A couple of new signings in the door, AK, and even the managers decided to sign a contract.
Aye, good news, pal, good news. Things are looking up, and that's what we want to see and hear about our club. Obviously, as we've spoken about it before, the financial fair play restrictions have restricted us a wee bit in our transfer outgoings and incomings, but no, the business looks good the now. Obviously, once we see them in person, then we'll be able to evaluate them better. But I'm liking what I'm seeing just now. But hopefully we still get a wee bit more business getting done before the end of the month.
Aye, I'd like to see that. AKGB, thoughts, pal?
Aye, Ox is on holiday. Aye, Southside. Mate, I've got to admit, for myself, I've not been happy like in this pre-season. I thought the pre-season's been poor and all that, but granted, now that it's started to see some movement with the signings, and after watching their interviews on our TV, I mean, these two boys are making sacrifices coming out here, bringing their family here and everything. I think it's like I says, it's about time like I says we go behind them and I says show them why they've sacrificed to come out to our club, Southside. So I'm hoping, like I says, there's more to come. And like I says, they've inspired me to have a bit more positivity going into tomorrow, mate.
Good to see, GB. Good to see a wee bit inspired to be a bit more enthusiasm. Obviously, listen, they've committed and our manager's committed. As you know, as he's signed an extension to his contract. So just quickly what we'll do is we'll hear what the manager had to say regarding signing that contract, and then we'll get the phone lines open if that's all right with you guys.
Absolutely, mate.
Perfecto.
I love this place. I love this club. I love the city. I love the fans. I love the atmosphere in Ibrox, or the fans who are in the away games. So it was my feeling also to do it longer term, and not to sit and wait until something more interesting comes in my mind. No, I really want to give all my best every second for this club because I love to be here. So we decided that end of May, and then it's about how can you put that in a contract that it's for both sides in a good way, and that you feel that you think the same way.
You mentioned coming to the end of a cycle last season. How close do you feel you are to getting the squad to where you want it going into this season?
We're still it's difficult to use the right words. I'm 200% sure we're gonna be much better in October and November and December and the months coming after. That's normal. If you see how many players left the building, how many players came into the building, how many young players we brought also in who still needs to learn things. So in that way, it's a squad with a lot of potential, more potential than there was last season. And for sure with the things we still want to do. So that's also the idea, to improve as a club and to become better. Does it mean that tomorrow we're gonna see the best Rangers and better than last season? I think you will see some interesting things. I'm confident about that, but we're not there yet, that we are at our best now. But that's asking the impossible.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, Dale, we've opened the phone line, so there's plenty to talk about in the Rangers world tonight. So if you'd like to phone in, you're more than welcome. Just phone in, speak to the people in the techie team, and they'll phone you back. Simple as that, and then you'll get through to us. AK, he loves the place, the city, the fans. Also mentioned the away games, the club overall. So obviously the directors have showed faith in the manager by extending his contract, and he's obviously looking forward to fulfilling it and bringing success to the club.
Aye, I mean it's obviously it's on the back of John Bennett's interview there during the week as well, and there was a lot of buzzwords in that he was coming out with, his business speak, so to be about the all-in thing that he kind of spoke about, referring to the manager. It seems as if Clement's went all in as well. They've obviously discussions about the future and the plans and the strategy and where to go in the future, because we've obviously, the club's no been great, it's no been success, you can't deny that. But we've got new people with new ideas in place there, and he sees the potential there to grow the club, to grow the squad, and hopefully it's going to be a successful team ahead. And the two of them have committed to each other. Now, all this rinse and repeat that Bennett spoke about, losing their manager every year, 18 months, it doesn't do us any good going forward. We need stability to be successful, and I think both of them have recognised that. So regardless where people are behind Clement or with Clement, we've got to stick with him, we've got to give him a chance, get himself his own team, and let's see where it takes us.
Aye, GB, you happy that the club have went and gave him the extension and the way they've spoke about it and the way he spoke today? Are you happy with that?
Aye, Ox. Why do I keep saying Ox? Sorry, Southside.
I know there's a big difference between the two of you, believe me.
He'll be sending me text messages like, how the hell do I sound like Southside? Sorry, bud. No, on the manager, it's great because it takes away that uncertainty. That the whole, I mean, everybody keeps talking about the Old Firm game down the line, like, oh, that's got to be a big bearing on how Clement survives and stuff like that. See, now, to be fair to the board and the manager, they've took all that away now. We know we're all in, and we've got to be all in as fans now. We've just got to ride this out. No matter what happens this season, we know that Clement's now signed up for the 4 years. The board's clearly going to invest in him. So we've just got to kind of give him the same backing as what we probably gave Stevie G Southside to a certain extent. I think we've kind of hit that reset button back to that stage. And as AK touches on, we can't keep going round and changing the manager every October, because I think we've dried up the well with trying to get players out the door and keeping players that are maybe got to do a job. I think now they want that, like you say, certainty that we build a squad, everybody knows who's in charge, and like I say, we try and strive for success.
Well, that's it. That's the one thing that we've got to stick together. I see Stephen on the YouTube feeds said trust in Big Phil, and that's exactly what we've got today. He came in last year, as he said, he had to put out fires, AK, and probably he got us into a position, and the players got us into a position where they had the chance to be successful in the league, and eventually it didn't happen. But that doesn't mean to say it was totally the manager's fault. So I think he wants to build a team, mould a team, and I think the board are certainly going to believe in him, and I think that's why the fans need to get right behind him. I know there'll be people out there that are not going to be happy or maybe a bit critical and pick faults in him, but I think we've all got to go all in and believe, because we can't go to what we've done the last 3 years with managers. It's just, and overturn the players. It's just it's not happening. It just can't happen again.
No, you're right, pal, and you're right with the words that you say there as well. I mean, we're invested in the club, no by choice, by birth. We're born into the club, aren't we? We're brought up to be a Rangers supporter. You don't choose to be a Rangers supporter. These guys are different. They're just custodians of the club. Managers, players, directors, chairmen. They're trying to do their best for the club and hopefully be successful. We've not been successful So if it's sting me, if supporters are for it or against it, that's their opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I think we're all collectively, we want success for our club, and that's what basically we're striving for. Come on, as I say, he's there, he's investing in the club, he's telling the directors what we actually need to go forward, and it's then up to him and the players to produce. But what about yourselves, Southside? Are you happy with the decision that the manager's made and the directors have made to give him the 4-year contract, pal?
Me, aye. No, I want him to succeed. I think he's the right guy for the job. I think he's got the background to get the job done. I just think that he was put in, like, using the other managers' players, not just the last manager before him. He got us a trophy, and we know how the league unfolded and the 2 games and that made it, but that wasn't totally his fault. You can maybe say he might have said the wrong things at certain times, but he's probably trying to protect the players. But at the end of the day, I believe that if he can get another couple in just shortly, I think it'll make the team better. In my own opinion, GB, I think he needs probably 3 transfer windows. I think this one, January, which will maybe not do much business, in the following summer. And I think he needs that to get most of the players that he'd want in the shape of the team going forward. I think it'll take him 3 windows.
Aye, Southside. He's asked for patience in his interview. I don't know if it was that one with Sky, but it was another one. He says there needs to be patience. That kind of tells me he knows, and he said that there might be a wee bit of up and downness for the team this season. I mean, granted, he'll want them to go out and challenge, and to be honest, the squad should be good enough to take care of most of this league. But I think, like you said, mate, I think he's got to need a couple of transfer windows, especially with the way we are, like, strangled with financial fair play, people's contracts currently in the team that need to run down as well, that we need to try and get them moved on. Because there you go, they were probably running into this season, Southside, when we're still got like Scott Wright. He's getting named in, I think, the European squad as well. I mean, that tells me it's a guy that's got to be hanging about. So it's hard to move a boy on like him, and he's going to need these transfer windows to kind of do that, I think, and obviously bring in the players that he wants. But what I say is, I think we get right behind him. He's what I say is go all in, and we just need to give him the patience and the backing for the fans, because, like you says, mate, as soon as he came in that October, he asked the fans to get right behind him, and look how far it drove us. We were inches away from winning the title.
Aye, listen, I've spoke to a couple of people who have met Big Phil, and they said he's a big unit of a guy. He feels as if he's got a presence about him. He's very courteous and polite, and he talked away about certain things that they asked. And a couple of them said, reminds you, he said, we can tell he's a winner. He wants to be successful here. You know, he knows what the club's about. So, I think the board have seen that for the off as well. And I think there's still a bit of a hangover. I remember Ox mentioning it. He thinks there's still a bit of a hangover for last season. But listen, he's extended his contract. He's bringing different types of players to the club. If more funds can be released, AK, and maybe 1 or 2 other players go, like Hadji, for instance, if maybe he can get a deal done, and we'll see what happens with Cantwell going forward. Is he going or is he no? But apart from that, there'll be 1 or 2 others I think will go if the money's right. But the other next 2 I'm looking at, think that the manager might think that they 2 can go out the door. It might free up some money to get a couple others in that he's looked at or earmarked in the past, because he did say deals were done and there we had sort of things in place. It was just about getting it done when the money was coming in, certain players were moving.
Aye. It's being realistic about it, isn't it? He knows where he is. Now, I think there's been a few honest discussions, shall we say, between him and the board, because he wasn't too enamoured in a recent interview a couple of weeks ago to say, hey, the goalposts have been moved here from where I thought my budget was going to be in January and the summer to where we are in reality now. I think maybe the Copeland Road restructuring is probably set that back a wee bit too. But all these things, you've got to deal with them. there is, when we can moan about it, I mean, it affects season tickets holders, of course it does, and the inconvenience that it gives you guys to go to the home matches until we're back at Ibrox. So that's undeniable, but the board are trying to deal with it as best as they can. It's not to be for everybody's liking, but you know, you just got to get on with it, as you've said before. But no, I think come on, going forward, see when you look at his last 8 to 10 months that he's been with us, I think he was, what was it, 7-8 points he came in. We were behind, we were well out the league. We were on the back of a sore home defeat to Aberdeen. He got us within touching distance of them. And for me, I think the players take a lot of the blame, the mental baggage that they carry, to take that on into the last 6-7 games of the season. It unravelled there. But hey, he won a League Cup, first time we've won one 13 year. He went to Spain and beat a Spanish opposite. The first time, I think, in our history we've done that. We topped the Europa League, which gave us extra income. And to be honest, we were cheated in that Scottish Cup final with no scoring the first goal. And we know how important that's been in the past. So I see positive signs there, but there's a long journey ahead. Ultimately, we want to be winning that league title, and that's what he's going to be judged on. But for the call for the man sacking in September if we don't beat Celtic, I think that's just silly. It's silly talk. We can't afford to keep doing that. And we just need to get behind him and trust the process, trust the manager, and see where it takes us.
I think when he maybe used the words goalpost slightly changed, I think maybe GB that he did say in his interview that he thought he might be able to re-sign some of the players. They'd maybe put an offer, but one or two got extra money elsewhere. So it looks like out of some of the players that have left, he might have wanted to keep one or two. Maybe they thought that might happen, and then he's realised that they're not going to be re-signing, or maybe the club decided, no, we're going to go down a different road. Either or, that might be what he's referred to. And I think he also referred to the fact that the job's a bit bigger than he actually anticipated at the start.
It's been night and days, really, Southside, for that interview that he gave to the press when I think they were in the Amsterdam winter. It seemed as if he was awfully defeated in that interview. He was just kind of getting on with it. That was that kind of feeling I got for the interview. But that, compared to what I seen today, it seems to be he's got like renewed energy. He's more positive about the outlook, which tells me, like you says, mate, that he's had probably serious discussions about where they're going, where the transfer window's heading and stuff like that. So I think he's probably had reassurances after the board that he's got to get the backing that he needs. It's just obviously got to be an understanding that he needs patience. So hopefully, like, the only thing I've got still concerns about William Southside is the old firms and his tactics. Sometimes is leaving his wide open. That's what I say, the club can back him, we can back him, but he needs to kind of give us a wee bit of belief as well that we can't just keep getting ripped open after lesser teams.
On regards to them, I mean, if you go back to the last time we played them, which would have been the cup final, you know, they didn't really rip us open that day, GB. In a couple of games before it, they haven't. They've won the games, granted, but there's not been as wide a gulf, I think, as what there was before, in the games before he came in. And I think now that we've recruited, we've got this big centre back in, we've got a decent winger by all accounts on the right-hand side. I'm really hopeful that Diamonde will be a lot better this year. I backed him even when people slaughtered him last year. I still said, no, he'll be a good player, and I think in time he'll be good this season for us. I think Cortez looks good because he wants to go and take the right back on. So I think he's putting positive players into the team. I think you just wipe the slate clean now, AK, regarding it, and we move on.
Aye, of course you do. Last season, we kind of keep looking back and wonder what if. so to speak. But you look at I know what GB is saying. Of course, there is a wee bit of concerns with some of the but I like to think, where's the players' responsibility in all this? Are they playing the instruction? Are they carrying out his instructions? Because you've seen pretty early in his tenure that Cantwell wasn't doing what he was told and he got hooked off. And see, when a manager can't trust a player, that's when you've got issues. And I don't think that relationship was ever repaired there at all. When a manager can't trust a player, what's the point of having him? If he's not playing under instruction, then he's no good for the manager, because he's just going to become a liability for the team when he's just drifting out his position constantly and no keeping his position. And the best of the best, Pep and Klopp, they're big on players. It doesn't matter the character of the player. If they're not doing what they're told, they're hooked, and then somebody else is coming in to weigh that position. But you'd players in the team knowing full well they were probably going to be leaving at the end of the season, i.e. a Lundstrom, i.e. a Jack, i.e. a Barisic, and maybe even Connor Golson got told, you've not got a future here anymore. Tavernier might be in that situation as well. They're not going to burst a gut for you. That's the facts of reality. He wants as many of them out the door as he can and get his own players in to give them a chance of, playing his instructions. And if he needs to adapt and change a formation to suit the personnel that he's got, then I hope to see that as well, because if a manager becomes stubborn, I don't think that reflects well on him as a manager either. So let's see what we've got tomorrow, and hopefully we get after a victory.
Aye, well, if there's anybody out there listening in and are not too happy with the manager getting extended a contract, then you can certainly phone in and discuss it with the two panel members on the night on 0141 356 1972. Listen, I think it's, like I said, I think the manager, GB, once you go, you get the new players like Robin Propper's come in, centre back, he sounds as if he's happy to be here, good experience. Surely he'll want to do well for the manager, So the players that's coming in, there might be one or two existing players in the squad, if they're not in the team every week, and that might be a wee bit, maybe no way to put the effort into that, but you'll soon notice that. It's down to, they might not be too keen on the manager, but at the end of the day, they'll end up getting moved on. But I think all new signings coming in, I think they'll all fight tooth and nail for the manager.
Just brings that freshness, Southside. I mean, I urge everybody and the fans to watch the behind the scenes video with Robin and his family and that, how they react to walking into the Rangers dressing room and stuff like that. His wee boy got presented with a Rangers tap, and you can see that his son's a wee bit unsure of the place, but his dad's like giving him a cuddle, and you can tell that he's saying to him, look, everything's got to be all right, you'll enjoy here and stuff like that. And I think when you're seeing that kind of commitment for a player, Southside, then us as fans have got a duty to make him feel welcome as well. And it all starts tomorrow, and even signings that might happen after tomorrow, we've just got to get right behind them. We've got to give them as much energy and passion to try and get them through this first couple of months, especially the run up to the international break, because it is going to be a bit topsy-turvy because players trying to settle and stuff like that. And I think Camont mentioned it in his interview there, that he thinks they'll be in a much better place come October, November, December, because the team will start to settle down a wee bit. So there might be a wee bit of upheaval in this kind of first month. But again, we've just got to get right behind them and make everybody feel welcome, feel settled, and let's just show what we're all about.
Aye, I know. AK knows all about that. When he moved into his brand new house, he had teething problems after the first couple of weeks, leaky taps and faulty boiler and stuff like that, AK. So it's going to take a bit of time. There will be teething trouble as he builds the team. And it's never going to be ready this season, I think, completely, because I think we need at least another 7 or 8 bodies in the door. But at the moment, for what we're getting, it's certainly it's a better starting team that we could have tomorrow than it was this time last week in some of the friendlies that we've watched.
Aye, I like that, baby. My new house was one of them. Grace, no, you've got a little way halfway down your drive. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, pal. The manager, as I said, well, GB picked up on it. The positivity. It seems as if he's settled. They're all in the same sheet, and he's looking forward to tomorrow. And the squad, he said, is bursting into tackles. He had to tell a few of them just to tone it down a wee bit. But Ridgeman's been looking for a proper centre half, and now he's got one. In name anyway. So, but 30-year-old, experienced. You mentioned leader. Will he be our new captain if Tavernier goes? I don't know. But interesting times ahead. The sooner we see these new signings integrate into the team, though, the better for me.
You did mention that. I heard them mention that, GB, about his leadership skills, what he'll bring about the centre, as they called it, with NCL and maybe a couple of other boys. Probably even had Leon King in there if he's there training with him. Him and Balogun, he mentioned, on and off the park. His professionalism, people will learn from him. But I think it's a good signing at age. Don't know too much about him. I know he's no played outside of Holland. But he wanted to make the move. And listen, you don't need to be a world beater to play up here, do you? You know, you just need to be pretty consistent, GB, and reliable.
Well, the way I was looking at it, mate, is that you don't become a captain for no reason. You must have to be a half-decent player. And for the whole deal as well, I mean, how Rangers have been right on top of it with I think he had a clause in his contract that was running out and were able to persuade him to come. And then, like I says, a lot of people were saying, well, Golson was 31 and all, and this guy's got to be 30, 31 soon enough as well. What was the difference? But the difference is we've got the wage gap down, and we've got still a good experienced, fresh player, somebody new, somebody with probably new ideas, Southside, and somebody that can play on the left side of defence as well, which hopefully will give us a better balance, like for Suter, because let's face it, Suter's been playing on that left, and it's not his preferred place, but he's in there because he wants to be playing. But I think hopefully now that if it is going to be that partnership with Suter and him, then it gives a better balance there, and the two of them can thrive.
It'll be interesting what side he actually plays on, because I believe he's too fitted. GB, he can play left or right, but he did play left for 20. He's coming to the biggest club he's ever going to play for, AK, in his career.
I'm sure he'll be buzzing for it. I think his ambition, even though he's played all his career in Holland, he did have ambitions to play in another country in Europe. And obviously, when he sees Glasgow Rangers, he'll do his own due diligence on the club and recognise us getting to European final there a couple of years ago. But when you look at our history, played against plenty of Dutch teams over the years, he would recognise as being a big move for him. Going to a big club, passionate about their football. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got, and if he's 2-footed, that's good for me, because he can slot in either left or right, depending on. You never know, he might have a new partner in there. We've got Suter, we've got Balogun, Ben Davies. Is he going to be here after a month? I don't know, because he's a high earner we could possibly get him ready. So no, I'm looking forward to. I don't think the business has been done yet, pal. I think there'll still be 3, 4 maybe to go out and 2 or 3 to come back in. So I'm looking forward to what we've got.
That's the thing. He's definitely coming in to be a starter without question, you know. So it's who he sees he's going to partner with, GB. We'll probably come in the second half, and maybe we can get through and see if we can pick a team which for tomorrow. But it's interesting to see. I think he'll maybe rotate the first few weeks, maybe the odd player here or there at centre back in certain games. But I think I'd like to hope it will settle down and you'll just get a regular partnership that will just start and play most weeks.
Aye, 100%, mate. And I think we've got to be fair to the two signings as well. We need to. I mean, I can't see the two of them getting much game time tomorrow, if anything. You know what I mean? I think that says we've got to be fair to them and give them a couple of weeks to kind of learn the system and stuff like that. Granted, any good player can play any time, but like I says, Clement's quite strict with how he wants his team to play and stuff like that. And I think this getting chucked into the first game of the season when you've got probably a settled defence there that we can probably start with then it'd be the smart thing to do and just get the game out the road. Hopefully, like AK says, a win under our belts and we move on and we keep learning.
Aye, players will take time to settle in, AK. You know, I think some will settle in quite quickly, as the manager said in the past. I mean, Brian Lloyd came up here and just settled in, didn't he? There wasn't any problems. Big Haley, player that played international, although he'd carried an injury for Monaco and stuff, but you can see how long it took him. A certain Mr. Alistair McCoist took a while to settle as well. So we've seen it. It can sometimes make or break a player if they don't get in straight away, and sometimes fans go on their back and they're not playing so well. But I'd like to think most of our players, as they come in, we're hoping that they'll kick the ground running. If they've got the experience, maybe the big man's got coming in at centre back, if they're maybe coming in at the right age, then I think it should be a bit easier for them to settle in than the young boys.
I agree. 30-year-old, you're not looking them to be the kind of guy that's going to take a while to settle into the new surroundings. You know, he's a pretty experienced player, playing in the Dutch league there. The Divisi's a high-level league across Europe. I mean, 20's one of the teams that's always there or thereabouts for like European places. They're playing obviously against your Ajax, your PSV, your Feyenoord. So a better level of football than what he's going to play here. But here, the thing that the guys need to get used to is the physicality and what a referee will let go and what he'll not let go. And a lot of them let go an awful lot, so he needs to get used to that. So if he doesn't like to take a done, well, he better get used to it and give one out with it as well. Tierney played at Ajax. He's got big club experience. He likes the expectation levels, is what Ajax gave him, and I think he sees Rangers pretty similar. Iganami, we've not seen yet. Hopefully, he's not that far away. But no, there's good prospects here. Young Barron in midfield is with Diamondi, as we've spoke about, is already striking up a pretty formidable partnership. You've got Raskin there too, you know. So it's things are looking decent, but hopefully the likes of Danilo, Cortez, Tavernier, whatever, the more game time they get, hopefully they feel the benefit of it going forward. And who knows, players that we can come in has got to strengthen the team as well. But that Dynamo game as well is coming up too, pal. So big game tomorrow and big game on Tuesday.
Aye, well, that's it. I think we'll probably find that tomorrow's the biggest game to start because it's the first game of the league season. But I think he's already alluded that he might have to make some changes for that European game on the Wednesday night. But what do you think of Diamondi, GB? Can you see him probably having a big season, or do you think you could see him getting moved up one to the number 10 role if we bring in a number 6? Could you see that happening if he sticks to this 4-2-3-1?
I see where you're getting at, because the manager kind of mentioned that today in his presser about that there could be some wee surprises in store for tomorrow, and it wouldn't surprise me if Diamond, because I'm sure Southside has not played a 10 role before, so we've been, like I said, been crying out for an attacking 10, so it wouldn't surprise me if he does play him in there. But it is good that he's came in. He's probably been one of the shining lights in the pre-season, to be honest. He's looked as though he's been ready for the start of the season. His form's been pretty decent as well. Some of the passes he played for that Union Berlin game was outstanding. It's just the defensive side with the stadium, like I says, I don't want us to turn into that the kind of the way Klopp had them had Liverpool, where it was like we'll score 5 and we'll let 4 in kind of thing. It's we just need them to kind of do his defensive duties as well. But going forward, like I says, the boy seems to be just at the right time, had a wee bit of form for the start of the season, mate. Very excited about him.
I remember one of the comments the manager made, AK, and it was no long, I think it was just after he scored against St Johnstone, and he said we sort of played him out of position. He doesn't normally play that far up. And I know you've said on here before, you've seen him playing wide left, didn't you, in a 3-4-3 before we signed him, is that correct?
That's right, matey. Seen him play with Northland, and he was left side, but he was up and down. He was carrying defensive duties, but he was also pretty comfortable going forward, cutting inside and shooting with his right. So he can play a number of positions, just wherever Clement feels him comfortable and utilise him that way. So it's aye. Diamondi has that in his armoury, and who knows if Sterling, for instance, goes into the midfield role and Tavernier remains at the club, that could push Diamondi into that 10 position or an 8 position, as GB's suggested there. And then who knows, he might become that kind of guy that we didn't think we had, and all of a sudden you've got a class player in your hands there.
Aye, I think he's got good mobile, good vision. He gets stuck in. Last season, I thought he dropped in and out of games at times, but I just took it that he was young. He just came to the country. He's trying to. The team are struggling at times, so I just look at him now. GB, I know I'm going to say this a bit early, but he reminds me similar when he first came in, and hopefully how he'll maybe go on like Joe Aribo did. He came in, he's got certain things. He can hold the ball up. He could beat a man, but at the start he didn't really show it. He got pushed off the ball in certain games, and then the following season he kicked in, and you started to see the real Joe Aribo.
Aye, very similar. And by the way, I was one of the ones when young Diamandi was scoring the goals early doors. I was like, oh, here we go. We've got a player that's actually got to turn up and be a player for us. And then as it fell off, I'm like, oh, here we go, same old. But again, he's answered these critics and me because he's into pre-season, he's looked good. And to be honest, Southside, we've missed a player like Joe Aribo. It's amazing. Like when you've got a player like that, you don't really appreciate it until they're away. And then when they're away, you're like, oh, God, they left a big void. Much like Scotty Arfield as well. Felt the kind of guys have left a bit of void and we never really replaced it. And hopefully, like I says, I think this season, Diamandi's got a wee bit more responsibility. I think he knows it himself as well in that midfield, because you can see him talking to the players, shouting and all that as well. Some of the looks he gives Dessers at times as well is quite funny. So I think he's enjoying the extra responsibility that he's got in that midfield, and hopefully that again just galvanises them all. And I says they all strive for the one thing, which is to win games, and hopefully we see trophies at the end of it.
Aye, I was listening to what you were saying there when you were saying like missing even Scotty Arfield, different type of player altogether. Scotty would just go in, he could fill in a role in the right side, number 10, he could go and play one after striker, he could sit in the midfield, but the thing about Scotty Arfield is he just ghosted in the box and fun space, and we haven't replaced that. Joe Aribo, I don't think we've replaced with the ability that Joe Aribo brought after his first initial, like I say, he kicked on second season, third season. Don't think we've actually replaced that either in our team. I don't think we've even replaced Ryan Kent as in quality of what he brought and what he could do. I don't think we've replaced that at the moment. I'm hoping Cortez will be the one. Diamandi will come forward this year. We've also got Cherny now, who I'm thinking that might do good things. So I can see he's trying to replace that type of thing in the team now, but it's been missing, I think, AK.
Aye, well, Clement's got his own ideas on how he's going to set up his team and his tactics and formations and that. We're talking about guys that was with the club and got to a European final. That's not to be, knocked at all. But see, when you look in reflection, there's question marks over Tavernier's future. If we do manage to get rid of Tav, move him on, we get rid of Scott Wright, that's that full team for Seville, plus Morelos, plus Aribo, Sakala, and plus Arfield. That's the kind of level of rebuild that we've had today, or we've done in the last 2 years. The supporters have wanted the change. They want to change a manager. They want to change the directors, chairman. It's all been done, but we need stability now, and we need to get behind our manager and trust in our manager and see where it takes us. And starting with tomorrow, let's get off to a winning start, Rangers.
There's certainly been lots of change, GB. Do you think the manager could possibly change tactics tomorrow slightly, tweak anything, or do you think will be the 4-2-3-1?
I think it will be the 4-2-3-1 Southside, but I think like what you're saying, I think the Diamandi thing, I think there'll be like a surprise like that. There'll be a player maybe in a different position. Lawrence has looked all right as well in pre-season. He's looked a bit off the pace a wee bit, but maybe that's going to come with more game time that he's getting. But even like say a guy like Dowell and that, it wouldn't surprise me like he gets in amongst the squad and stuff like that. I know he's not been a fan's favourite, but he's not been spoke about, but he's part of the squad and all that. There's just got to be something. There's got to be a personnel change of some sort. I think that's maybe going to give us a kind of look at that kind of thing. But tactics wise, no, I think you're going to see your 4-2-3-1 because that's what you can see he's rigid with that, and that's what he's wanting them to work to. It's just whether, like I says, it's that kind of thing that Ox says is that they get cut out very easily, and hopefully, like I says, they're on top of that the more. And like I says, there's a kind of mere structure to seeing what the manager's trying to do. So because I think that's a thing in pre-season for me that where I've been annoyed is that I couldn't see what we were doing, and it wasn't really to the Union Berlin that you could start to see something. So I'm, like I says, eager for the game to come tomorrow so that we can see where we're heading.
I don't know how Hearts will set up, to be honest. I know they've not had a great pre-season. Tactics-wise, I don't think he'll stray for the 4-2-3-1 AK. I think that's what he'll pick. And probably just after the second half, we'll maybe try and pick a team or put players in that we think could come in or whatever. But I think it'll be the 4-2-3-1. I don't think he's going to change it. Me personally, I would rather play a 4-3-3 AK. That's the way I would rather go. But I just think that he likes the number 10, especially likes the two wingers. I know it can change to a 4-3-3 as well. I mean, I've seen it sort of like a 4-3-3 at times, but no for too long it sort of moves. But I just think he's going to be set on that, the 4-2-3-1.
Initially he is probably going to set up that way because that's the way he's been used to play. But I think you're maybe going to see a change in formation with the ball and without a ball. The forward line drop into the midfield a wee bit and make us a wee bit more compact in there. Ball retention is hopefully going to be good. As GB said about the Union Berlin game, we actually looked decent, I thought, going forward, but we looked fractured at the back, and we need to cut out all the simple mistakes and deal with things, take responsibility, clear your lines, don't overcomplicate things, don't pass into dangerous areas where we could be punished. Just be a bit more clever on the ball and look for the blue jersey, fund the blue jersey, get us up the park, and we've got a good record against Hearts, put it that way. They'll be edgy, their crowd will be edgy. I looked at their pre-season games, they lost 3-0 to Fleetwood, just last week there. Spurs came to Tynecastle and whacked them. I think you've seen the game yourself. Southside, it was a young Spurs team and even Leighton Orient came to Tynecastle and beat them 2-1. So they've not exactly had a great pre-season either. So it's going to be one of the things, and whoever gets the 3 points, hopefully it's us. You're off to a good start in the league campaign and get a bit of positivity going in the squad.
Aye, they've not had a great pre-season, similar to us, I suppose. And listen, pre-season's pre-season. You like to maybe get a victory under your belt, but it just depends on results, doesn't it? I prefer to try and see a shape and a style, just to see something. If I've signed new players, I like to try and get a chance to see them, see what they look like, and see what they're doing. But it's been patchy. He's changed it that often. It just felt GB a bit like last season. I don't think Clement played the same team 3 times in a bounce. I don't think he could. I think he had to change a player every time for every game, just a bit.
Aye, very unsettled Southside. And again, totally up against it. And it was looking that way in pre-season, that it was going to be up against it again, with players coming and going, didn't know what, like, who to give the captaincy to, like stuff like that. And then I says, as the transfers are kind of moved on, the squad's kind of settled down a bit. And I think even with the Tav interview as well for RTV, I think that's kind of settled that down as well, because I think for what Tav's done, it sounds to me that he's got a bit of energy again, because during pre-season, as much as I know he was coming back for an injury and stuff like that, he didn't look interested. But yet in our TV interview, it looked as though that, I don't know, somebody's had a word with him, or they've gave him a kind of, I don't know, a reassurance that we want you involved in this season ahead. You know what I mean? I know AK's saying there's maybe a chance there that he's got to get still sold, but I don't know. I think between the manager's attitude and between Tav's attitude, it sounds to me there's been a kind of a change in the weather there. That I think the players are going to be all in this season and try their damned hardest to win something. And I think maybe that's what Tav knows, realised that he's signed up to. He's got to get his all for this, probably last season.
Well, he's got two left. He obviously knows if he can get through this season at the club, he'll get his testimonial. And before everybody starts shouting and bawling, I believe Tav should have got a testimonial for the amount of time he's been at the club. He's not been great in the last wee while. He's made mistakes throughout his career when he's been here. He's not won as much trophies, but he cost 250 grand. He's been a great servant, value for money, for well overachieved. But he's played at the biggest club he's ever likely to be at. And the only thing we can sort of label at him is the trophy haul. Apart from that, I think the goals, the assists, the records, the European top goal scorer, you'll not have another right back. I'll never see another right back with anything close to what he's produced, and I don't think many Rangers supporters for a good long while might even get anywhere close to it. The amount of goals and assists has just been unbelievable. First and foremost, you want him to defend, but should he leave, AK, as you mentioned, or possibly could leave, that's going to then take another chunk out of our team, the way that he created the assists and his goals for even the last few years, and we've been struggling in a lot of games. He usually come up trumps with a goal.
Aye, listen, whether you like Tav or no, his stats are undeniable. Even last year, he's contributing not just with goals, with assists. You know, a lot of them are penalties, granted, but he's still chipping in with the odd magic free kick. His corners can be improved. Some of his free kicks can be improved. His positional sense can be improved, but that's more apparent now as he's getting older. He's not been able to track back the same, and Connor Golson was getting pulled out of position, and that was leaving gaps in the defence. And see, when you become a liability for a team, that's when you've got to recognise that you need to move these players on, and that's the camp that I'm in now, and that's where I stand. I acknowledge what Tav brings to the team, and for the value for money, what you say, absolutely fantastic. But for me, I'm black and white, pal. I look for trophies, and I look at it's not just his fault, but it just supporters were we look to blame somebody in the longevity that the players that are in the building and the lack of success. Then they're the first guys that's going to get point the fingers at. That's no their fault. He could be playing with better players around about him, which might have improved our team. But collectively, that's where I sit. People might agree with me, no bother. But no, Tav in general, for the money that we paid for him, has been an outstanding signing. But I just think that the mental baggage, that he carries, I think we're looking to move him on. If not this season, then definitely for next season.
I think the manager's always going to be guarded, and if he's asked the question, he's said it before. He even mentioned it regarding Lundstrom and one or two other players in the past. Whether Tav goes or no, GB, the transfer window will dictate it. I said the other night, I thought, would he be the worst player that has to go? Does he have to go to the door first before anybody else? Because Sterling, for me, since he came in, has struggled at times with injuries. I think in the position at right back where I'd expect to see him in time or starting when he's fit, I think he might pick up the odd bookings, and you need cover. So I was saying the other night, is Tavernier to boot the door the next player, or would you rather see a Cantwell go, a Matondo go, Dessers go, something like that before Tav? Because I think we all need cover in there at right back. We don't seem to have anybody else that can really cover in there. Devine's out the picture, and Leon King's been tried in there. If you give me a choice between Leon King at right back or Tav, I will take Tav. For all his faults, I would still take Tav.
Of course you would. And the thing is, nobody's been able to come in and take the shirt off him. I mean, Sterling's looked good. Sterling's is a fantastic player. But like you say, he's starting to pick up injuries. They were going into this season, he's picked up another muscle injury. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be his career at Rangers, but again, it shows you that we're quite vulnerable there. And you've just named off the kind of players that would be stepping in to try and cover for Tav. I mean, they're just not good enough. And as we stand with, like I say, the transfer window, how we have to have one player out, one player in, and stuff like that. And maybe you're right, Southside. Maybe we just need to run with it. And this is maybe what the club's realised, that we're going to just have to run with Tav this season, and we'll spread the load between him and Sterling. And maybe there's been an understanding there. And maybe the money needs to get spent elsewhere than now. Maybe there's more important positions to get filled. And then, like you say, in time, like say the next transfer window at Christmas, next summer, that's when you can start to shake hands with Tav and say thanks for your service, and you can move on from there. Whereas you don't want to cut off your nose to spite your face kind of thing, don't you know, when you've got a guy there that can probably dig you out a hole when you really need it, with a free kick or a goal, just a normal goal. The only thing like this is it always gets focused is the defensive side of it. But that's down to Common. Comon's got to if he's picking the team and he's putting Tav in it, Comon's got to shore that side of it up. He's got to make sure there's somebody there protecting Tav, especially, like I say, all firms in Europe.
I'd like to think, AK, listen, I'm hoping that we'll be having the majority of the playing all the games this season again back in the league. We've got wingers that he relies on. Tav will maybe push up now and again, but I think you'll maybe keep him in a sort of relatively safe area. I don't think he'll be bombing down the lines like he does. I think if he's cover, I think he'll start tomorrow, obviously now because of Sterling. But when he is there, he's commanding a chunky wage. Somebody might come in from in January, but I just think that now as it stands, there's probably more pressing players for me. I'd rather see go out the door than Tav at the moment. If he goes, he goes. Hopefully we'll get a transfer fee and we take that wage bill down a bit. But should he know, he might end up playing more games, but some people think if Sterling doesn't get over his injury issues at times.
No, you're right. You're right. Valid points. The two are making valid points there. There is definitely other areas of the team where we should be looking to improve well before Tavernier is getting looked at. I.e. Dessers needs a challenge up front, score more goals. We've all spoke about the Shanklin boy. Nothing's materialised. It might never materialise. It might be that Common Disney fan. Who knows? He might have his eye on somebody else in Belgium or Scandinavian leagues that he likes the kind of looky. But we're definitely looking to improve in basically every area of the team now. We're looking to bring the age down. We're looking to bring the wage structure down. We're looking to, it's a whole structure replan, the strategy going forward with the board, the football director, the manager, bring in younger players to sell them on for, big profit. That's what Ross Wilson basically spoke about when he came in the building. That's what was going to happen. Never happened. John Bennett spoke about it. That was a myth. And I think all the board have been hoodwinked when they're coming out with that. But let's not forget, Bennett was part of that board too. He can't go finger point when he's actually part of it too. So everybody's got to accept some sort of culpability for the position that we're in now. But we've just got to try and forget that, dust ourselves down and look ahead, look to the future. If Tavernier's part of that future, I'll still get behind him. But there's just that wee bit, his age is getting against him, his fitness, himself. that he could susceptible to pick up injuries too, but the level of performance, the level of appearance that he was giving us every season, as well as the assists, as well as the goals, it is, you're right, probably we'll never see the likes again, but everything else, as a door shuts, another one opens, and the club moves forward, and hopefully success is waiting on us. That's what we're all striving for.
Aye, it's like you say, GB, and we've spoke about, listen, if somebody comes in with a transfer fee or whatever and he goes, then he's gone anyway, regardless. And then we have to find new heroes. I was hoping Sterling would start. I'm hoping when he gets a bit of fitness back, whatever it is it's holding him back, I think he's a muscle injury or something, or strain or something, whatever. I'd like to think he can keep himself fit. So if you looked across the board now, GB at the back line, do you think now who's all there, unless somebody else moves, maybe a Ben Davis, or dare say it, maybe somebody comes in and tries to take suit or whatever, you think that's the back line at the moment? There's no pressing issues. You'd be happy to keep all them that's there now? To start with, to go forward now?
Aye, of course. I think so. It's just they're all decent on their day, Southside. That's the thing. They've got a mistake in them, but see when they actually show their true qualities, then I mean that defence can be actually good. It's just like I says, to be fair to them as well, there has been a lot of chop and change with injuries at the back as well. There's never been a proper settled defence, no, probably since '55, to be honest. And like I says, hopefully this season that kind of does settle down a bit and people know their roles and stuff like that. But no, I'm quite happy. They should be good enough, like I says, to manage most of this league. Southside, there shouldn't be any excuses in that. These boys, like I says, have played either in our league or in another top league, and have got plenty of experience behind them. So they should be, like I say, switched on and ready to handle what's going to come to them with this league. Plus, as well, they've had another season under their belt, knowing how these teams set up against them and stuff like that. So I'm expecting them all to be ready and no excuses tomorrow, because, like I say, they're good enough. They just have to go out and show it.
Well, that's for us. It's about expectation levels. Banners alluded that he's had to say to a couple of them to calm down. I was actually thinking when he said that who it might be, and for some reason Connor Barron just popped into my head. I just thought maybe somebody like him just sort of get into a tackle, because when I was starting to think about the rest of the squad, I couldn't really think of anybody else. You know, I thought maybe Diamandi, but Barron popped into my head straight away.
It kind of reminds you of the story that Gaza, wasn't it, with Reno the Gattuso? Give me more. McCoy's got 6 studs across his chest. But aye, listen, if he's showing that sort of, you know, willing to impress, then that's good for Clement. I'm sure he would take it the right way. But you're right, and GB's right. I was looking there before we came on. The last 8 games we played against Hearts, we had 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. 2020 was the last time we lost to them. I think that was in the league. But aye, the bookies see as his favourite stay, 47 way up. So there's no need for us to fear them. I also looked at their squad. I don't know if you guys did, but they've sold that Alex Cochrane to Birmingham, played against us there a couple of weeks ago, and they brought in Blair Spittle from Motherwell. But the rest of it was all like free transfers and all young boys and all that. So I think they're actually downsizing it a fair bit on their squad as well, through wages and stuff like that. So I think this Shanklin thing is a big decision for them. He's into the last year of his contract, and he's refusing to sign the new improved contract. Why is he doing that? You know, does he want to leave? That suggests that. Or do they sell him the new, or get him, you know, somebody gets him in a pre-contract in January and he leaves at the end of the season? I don't think Hearts could afford to do that. So all of a sudden they've no got to the aces and other clubs have. So I think it's a wait and see on that one.
Aye, well, what we'll do is we'll need to wait and see if anybody's going to call this show tonight, because it is a phone-in show, guys. It's the start of the season for the famous Glasgow Rangers, so surely there's something you'd like to come on and speak about. So looking forward to that. But if you two guys would like to get yourselves on mute, we're going to have a tune.
As we go marching down the Paisley Road West, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. As we go marching down the Paisley Road West, the doors and the windows open wide, you will hear the people cheer, the Glasgow Rangers boys are here. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. Blue is the colour, football is the game. We're all together, Glasgow Rangers is our name. For we are the best team in all Scotland, and Glasgow Rangers is our name. So bring on the Celtic, your Hibs and Aberdeen, your Dundee United, we're the best you've ever seen. We play hand on heart, God save the Queen. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me. It's Glasgow Rangers for me.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Aye, well, he's back, guys, I take it. I'll tell you what we'll do. We could have a wee stab at our team if you want for tomorrow. And we can see if we agree or disagree, which sometimes happens. But I think we can all agree we'll see Super Jack tomorrow. For last season, Super Jack at the moment.
Aye, 100%. By the way, I don't want to see pre-season Super Jack.
Hey, we've got a great this South Side picking a team. We've not got a great record.
No, but I think we can safely say anyway that Butland will start tomorrow, and let's hope he gets his. Aye, I think Tav. Well, I'll say I think Tav will be right back tomorrow, and I think with the manager alluding to that Sterling's struggling, unless there's somebody else coming in as a surprise. I would expect it to be Tav, GB.
Yep, 100% Tav, mate. He's got to start. Got to get us after a flying start, mate.
AK, see anything different?
Unless we've got Kyle Walker in the building. No, it's Tav.
Aye. So, right, we've got Butland and Tav. I think we'll go left back. I think it'll be Ridvan. That's my opinion. GB?
Yep, Ridvan for me.
Aye, we postman part for me and all, but
Reasons?
I'm seeing out of JFG now, so aye, Ridvan, hoping he's fit to play.
Your reason, GB, you see Ridvan, just experience, knows what it's about. Sort of, it's a bit more comfortable defending at the moment than Yefty.
You could tell in pre-season that he was playing Yefty to try and build up his experience with the squad, because he was getting all the starts and stuff like that. And I think between probably Ridvan's training before games and then he's getting his, I think he was only getting like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or a half. That says I think the manager knows where he is at with Ridvan, but I think like Yefty's still trying to get that understanding. So go with Ridvan tomorrow for the kind of. I think he's actually quite enjoyed it when he's been playing at Tynecastle, Ridvan. So I'm quite excited to see him run down the wing as well tomorrow.
Well, that's the thing about Ridvan. He can get forward. We've seen him. He can cut inside and go forward. Hopefully, but he can. If it's him, he'll strike up a good partnership. If it's him, and probably Diamandi on the left, which I think we'll get to in a minute. But I can see that working with Yefty with him as well, and Cortez and that when they start. But that idea, I can see that sort of left-hand side at some point being quite strong in our team.
Aye, well, when you cast your mind back, and I spoke about it last season, that the Hearts game at Ibrox where we pumped them 5-0, our left-hand side that day was Ridvan, Diamandi and Cortez, and we've got the three available again. So I think it goes with that. But I don't know about you boys, but I don't want to see Yefty in the team and still he shaved that stupid moustache and gave his a proper short back and sides.
Aye, I just listen. It won't surprise me if he starts tomorrow, but the manager will decide that if he sees the reason why he wants to put him in the team. He has a new signing, but I just think Ridvan starts tomorrow. Then we get to the two centre-back positions. GB, who do you think will play on the right-hand side?
John Souttar, I'll go for it.
Reasons for Souttar?
I think he's the best of a bad bunch, mate. I think it's... don't get me wrong, maybe Big Balogun, but I think Balogun's not been getting the kind of starts the same. I think he is going to get used as a kind of cover. Big Souttar, he had the captain's armband on in pre-season, so it tells me he's kind of one of the mainstays. So I think he'll be the right side for the tomorrow, mate.
AK, you're the same, Souttar?
Aye, I'm in agreement as well, GB. I think Souttar was basically bought as a replacement for Golson before he signed his contract a couple of years ago. So he's bided his time a bit there, and I think he deserves a running out. Mate, last year, I think he played 30 odd games last year, where people were saying before you were lucky to get 10 to 15 games out of him. So I'm hoping that his injury problems are behind him and he has a career in front of him. Whether the proper commitment team is going to imbalance that or take him off the kind of team sheet, but I think it's his journey the now until Clement decides otherwise.
Aye, unless Balogun plays and starts in the right-hand side, and if Souttar was going to play, I think Souttar would probably go left. But if we agree, I think if you want to play Souttar and you want to try and get the best out of him, I think he's going to play on the right-hand side. I don't think the left-hand side suited him at all. I know he tried his best in there, but I think going forward, if he's going to be fighting for a position in the team or taking that jersey, then he needs to cut out the stupid mistakes that he's made, but he's made them usually on the left. So I think Souttar will probably start tomorrow myself, to be honest, GB. So we can agree on Souttar, and then we'll go to the left-hand side. This will be interesting. I'll go to you first, AK.
Well, I've got Davies down in my team sheet, no because I think he's a better defender than Balogun, but I think he's featured in every pre-season game so far. I think Clement likes the balance he offers to the back line. Personally, I would play Balogun, but I think the gaffer will play Davies.
You play Balogun left if you were playing Souttar, aye? Do you think he would leave it like that?
I would. But it depends on the proper as well. I think he intimated in his interview that they were waiting papers and they were undecided yet. So you never know. By the way, if they get the papers, I would be putting proper straight into the team for tomorrow. I want to see him, but I think he'll go with Davies. That's what I think.
Yourself, GB?
Aye, Ben Davies. I think it's going to be south side. I think it's just purely just to have that kind of balance in the back line, just so that everybody knows what they're doing for the first game of the season. I don't think they want to change it up too much. They might, like the manager said, he's got to chuck in a couple of surprises, but I think it will be more, what I says, he'll be wanting the kind of run of the mill just to get through the first kind of game.
You're on mute, side. What about midfield then, GB? Pretty easy. A 2?
Aye, it'll be the 2.
And Diamondi, south side.
Aye, I think it'll be the 2. I was on mute. I was doing a bridge man there. I was talking and you shouted. I think if the paperwork come through for him in time, I think the fact he's up to fitness proper and all that, and I think, listen, I'd like to see him play, but I think he'd probably be on the bench if the paperwork comes through. And I think he'd possibly bring him on if we're winning the game by 2 goals at least. I'd like to think he'd maybe give him a wee bit of game time on the view to playing on the Wednesday night in Poland against Kiev, GB. But what? Wednesday.
Is it? All right, okay. Thank you.
So you should know better. You should do your homework. You come on. I'd like to give him a bit of game time, but maybe just the training sessions and setting it out, because I think he's a certain start next Wednesday, GB.
I think so. maybe he's been the one that's been flying in with the tackles. I think he can make the bench. Like I said, it's all doing this paperwork and stuff like that. I personally wouldn't start them, just because I think it's unfair. I think when you're putting somebody into a new team and stuff like that, they need to try and get some sort of understanding. I know they're professionals and stuff like that, but like it says, that guy doesn't know how John Suter's got a bomb scare in him yet. So I think, to be fair on him, like you says, maybe bring him off the bench if the game's going well.
Aye, it's not often you see centre-backs come on, mind you, as substitutes, is it really, unless somebody gets injured? It's a hard one. I'd like to pick him, but I think Ben Davies or Balogun. Probably Ben Davies, I think, just because he's played more games, might start it, but I don't think he'll necessarily start in the European game. But I think for the Hearts game, I think if you kept that sort of defence, here take Balogun. If you weren't putting the Robin proper in, then either or, I think that would be sufficient anyway, I think, for the Morris game. And as the 2 you've touched on, midfield, Diamandi and Barron, I think that's probably a given, isn't it? And the reasons will be because it's the only 2 we've really got and up to fitness, and it's the 2 that we think will start for a period of time in that midfield till we get a proper number 6.
These are the only 2 that's featured, isn't it? The full pre-season. The manager's purposely put the 2 of them together, and I think obviously he's wanting to build that partnership. I think if he wanted to change anything in there, you would have seen it during the pre-season, even if it was a duo or something like that. But that's never featured. It's always been they 2 together. So, and well, Raskin to a certain extent, but obviously he's injured. So, it's good to go with they 2. And like I said, I think the young boy Barnes going to thrive in it. I think he'll be right fired up for this tomorrow.
AKI, I think I'd like to think the whole team will be fired up tomorrow. I'd like to see a bit of passion, but I want to see good passing, loads of energy, good movement after the ball, and just commitment. And I think if we do that and we get the right players on the ball in the right positions, I don't see Hearts posing as many problems. I think Shankland obviously does, because he knows where the net is. And they've maybe got 1 or 2 other players. They'll get a wee midfielder, it's no bad. I can't remember his name, it'll come back to me, but he's not a bad player. But listen, I don't fear a lot for Hearts. I think it's what we do tomorrow, and that's what we're looking at tonight. It's about what we do, our application and attitude.
Aye, it should always be about us. That's why they're at our club, and that's why they're on the wage that they are. But Barron and Diamondi's been the one shining light in the pre-season games where we're finna most of them disappointing. They 2 haven't been. They've been out there and showed the right attitude and application, and that's what we want to see after the rest of the team going forward. So no, it's that gives us a foundation in the midfield, but we'll also need other players to work. A 2 can't go against a 4. They're going to get outnumbered. They're going to get passed about. So that's when you're looking for your your fullbacks maybe to step into midfield, or your wingers to come back and give them a hand. Everybody's got to work collectively, and that's what makes a good team. So everybody's got to play under instruction, and the sooner everybody gets up to speed on that, plays as a team, the better for the team.
Aye, slightly your number 10 can drop in depending on who it is. If it was Diamandi, if he's playing one up, we get a number 6 in there eventually, then obviously he can drop in. It can sit as a 3 off the ball, you know, and stuff like that. But aye, that number 10 should be the player that should come back in, probably drop in, help the midfield at certain times just after the ball. But going forward, obviously you're wanting him on the ball further up the park. But as we talk about the number 10, there is a couple of choices, I suppose, out there that you can look at. But do you think Tom Lawrence gets a nod because he's goals, although he looked really tired after more or less 45 minutes? Or do you see Kieran Dowell possibly playing in there because he was picking him? He played against Birmingham he was picking him against Union Berlin, I think, until he got sick, and Sterling was playing that game. So do you see a possibility for him getting in the 10 if it's no Tom Lawrence? Or Lowry's obviously vying for that spot, but I don't see that happening. Your thoughts, GB?
I think, mate, he'll go with Tom Lawrence. He did pick Tom Lawrence last season as well, going into the Old Firms, which raised a couple of eyebrows and stuff like that, because we were always going on about pace and stuff like that. I think he'll just pick him just for the experience side of it tomorrow. I think Dowell's got more legs in him, if you mean. So probably for an attacking threat, I probably would like Dowell, but Lawrence kind of showed me that you give him a chance in a game, then he'll put it away. He's got a good finish on him. And again, I think tomorrow's got to be kind of one of the games that we'll all have probably a lot of chances created outside the box. I think Lawrence can, like I say, probably get us one of the type of goals. So I would go with Lawrence just again for his experience, and hopefully, like I say, he's building up this kind of pre-season, because to be honest, he's actually looked not too bad. He's looked leggy at times, but maybe again he's just not had that proper pre-season that he's had in the past couple of seasons.
Aye, I think this is probably his first real pre-season. I think I'm not sure if he'd done most of the one before. Is it? Aye. Listen, I like him to a point. I think he's got good vision. He certainly knows where the goal is. I just think maybe if we get into a rhythm and a structure, he become more influential in games, I think, going forward. But I think because of what he done against Union Berlin and the way we set the goals up, and he finished 2 of them, I think you'll probably get the nod in that number 10, and it'll be up to him until the manager sees fit, unless he's taking him out for a game, to maybe rest him, to put somebody else in just to keep his legs for another game. But we're going to him if he starts, to see whether he's going to keep the shirt or no. But I'd like to think he'll turn up with a performance tomorrow, because we really need the number 10 to start functioning.
Aye, no, you're right, and I agree with you as well. I think Lawrence will get that starting jersey there. No, because, well, he does deserve it in the context he's scored 2-3 goals there in the pre-season. But the fact that Cantwell's dipped out the equation through his fault, no other person. You know, it was him that went to the manager and he had the discussion that he wanted to leave the club. So I think Clement's actually quite right, just to leave him out there until the club comes calling for his services. We don't want him. If he doesn't want to play with us, carry on. That's our club. I don't want anybody in our team wearing a jersey that doesn't want to be there and play for the team. So Cantwell's instigated that himself. So we need to go with. If it's Lawrence, then fine. If it's Dowell, fine. As you've banged on about it before, Southside, the likes of young McCausland could play that position. You never know, he might shine there, because on that right hand side he's doing a job for the team, but he wants game time. He doesn't want to kick his heels on the bench or play with the B team. But if he's had a conversation with Clement and he's told him, that's where I want to play, that is my end goal, then let Clement decide there. Give Lawrence, say, an hour or 70 minutes, and then give McCausland that free roll and see what damage you can do. And we all remember the likes of Ian Durant came into the team all the years ago. I'm not saying McCausland's as good as Durant, but what an impact that wee guy made on the team, giving him a free role, you know, and scored goals, ghosted into the box. Who knows, McCausland could hit the A-levels, and what a difference that would make to the team. And we wouldn't need to spend a fortune on somebody else then.
Listen, I know the manager's aware. I know he was doing it at Capel for one of the B games a while back. I don't think it was the Alloa game, I'm not sure. Him and Van der Heyden was there. Ross McCausland did play central mid, number 10. He is direct, and to be honest, he does remind me slightly of Durant when he gets the ball, because the one thing he wants to do is run in a straight line for the middle of the park and go and commit players. He's been put out in the wing through necessity, and maybe if Lovelace hadn't got injured, Lovelace might have been out there in the wing more often, because he did play wide for the B team at times and no always through the middle, him and Archie Stevens, as we've spoke about. But whether the manager will do it, listen, you seen Ross McCausland, the difference in him last season, the last game against Hearts. He played more central, scored a goal, and he set up one for busting for midfield forward, setting it up. I think it was Tesler's. He squared it to and scored. I'm not sure, can't remember. But either or, he set up a goal and scored a goal for central, getting that chance of getting into the middle and picking the ball up. And any time he does it, he just goes straight line, direct. GB. So I think it would be if I was taking off Tom Lawrence, the Mora, after 60, 70 minutes, then I would love the manager to stick McCausland in, because people will see a difference in him. And it's all right saying he done it at B level, GB, but listen, if you want the best out of him, the best I seen out of him at the times, he never played in the wing for the B team. He played in the middle, and he's a far different player, GB, honestly.
If there's one thing I want out of this season, Southside, is us to play players in their proper position, especially for this manager as well, if he's got to be hanging about for 4 years. See, trying to, like, if you think about it, that right side, we've been trying to put Hadji out there, Arfield out there. We've even now tried to put McCausland out there, and then granted the boy's tried to just grab his opportunity and stuff like that, but it's no fair on the boy. He's done a job at times out there, but I'm like you, mate. I'd much rather see him being played in his favoured position, and if that's the case, that he's coming off the bench to help Tom Lawrence, just swapping out, then that's good options. I'm happy with that, because you're still keeping an attacking threat there, but it's no fair putting the boy out in the wing and, like I say, there's nothing happening out there. We need quality out there, and we need, like I say, in that number 10 position, we need to be dangerous, and maybe that's the surprise the manager's talking about. Maybe there's got to be a youthful looking midfield there. I mean, you get if it's Barn, Diamandi and McCausland, you know what I mean, it's a lot of pace in there. That's legs, you know what I mean, and they're dangerous. It's just the defensive side. Maybe the old experienced side will come in, like say with Lawrence, that he'll get the nod, because he, like I says, he'll shoot up the midfield, keep the ball ticking there and all that. That's maybe why he'll get the nod. But like you says, mate, if it's the subs at 70 minutes and you're putting that young boy on, then I'm all for that.
I believe Lawrence will get the nod. He's obviously physical. He's got more experience. He's too fitted. He's good around about the edge of the box. He's got good power in his shots. I get all that. But I would hope that, because he's not really going to get much of a chance on the right, unless Cherny comes off in games and he maybe puts him on and sticks him out on the right. But for what I've ever seen of the boy, and I believe you try and get him in their best position, and if it takes him, if he gets 15, 20 sub-appearances this year and he's got to come off the bench, I would like him to go into that role and just let him go in and play. He will get knocked about and stuff. He might have a odd bad game here and there, but he's a young boy. But one thing I've always noticed, he just goes in a straight line and wants to go and commit. And he showed it up many times in the positions. But we'll see going forward. So we've all agreed then it'll be Tom Lawrence. I take it.
Yep.
On the left-hand side, what do you think, AK?
Yeah, Cortez for me. I'm looking forward to see what he brings to the team this season. I like to look at him last season. Obviously, he's building his fitness up now, but I think the more games he plays, the better he's going to become. And I'm excited to see what he can produce for the team. So Cortez for me in the left.
GB, you the same? Cortez, hands down?
I think as AK said there with the kind of fitness side of things, that's the concern. I think he might go Matondo, and it's purely just because of fitness. And whereas Cortez can probably come on for Matondo, if you mean. I think Matondo's the more fitter one to start the game, but it could be vice versa as well. Could have Cortez running his game out, and then, like I says, you bring on Matondo. I think it'll be eachy peachy between what one starts there.
All right, I've just picked myself up off the chair when you said Matondo. Before we carry on, it is a phone-in show. I think we're into about the last 35 minutes of the show. So if you'd like to phone in, please do, and give your thoughts on the Rangers. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hi, I can see Matondo. I can see your vision, Gary. I don't.
He's not for me, mate. He's not.
I know, but I get it. I get the fact that fitness-wise, possibly, I don't know if he's much more ahead of Cortez, to be honest. Cortez looked quite lively at the start of a couple of games. I like him for the reason being that he goes to commit the defender straight away. He's happy to go and engage when he gets the ball. He's not looking to cut back, or if he cuts inside, he's cutting inside because he's going direct to go by him. That's what I like about him, GB. I just think he's direct. Matondo, for me, can go. If we can get somebody to come in and buy him, I would honestly let him go. For me, he's just a waste of a jersey now. He's had these moments, and they go against him, and the ball Dessler's played him through, I think, for the European game and that. Aye, he's had moments, but for me, you need to be consistent. I don't know if we'll get rid of him, but if it's in the manager's thoughts. But for me, if he does get in that team and get that jersey, then I'd like to think that now he knows he's got competition on that side. But if he starts, aye, I get it. He could, just because he's pace, GB, but he's not really for me anymore. I just don't see anything coming back from him at all.
No, and by the way, he's not for me either. It's just purely, again, remember the whole thing, he had the talk with the manager and all that. The manager's been working away with him and try to perfect that shot that he done. And then you've seen glimpses of what the player they can be against Man United and stuff like that. He'd done all the running through, and again, a bit like Scott Wright, the end product at the end of it. I'm pure just going on the kind of fitness. Cortez gets the nod ahead of him all day long, but I think it's just depending on the fitness situation. If Cortez is fit and ready to go, then I play him all day long. But again, we've just got to protect him, because we know what we're like with injuries and stuff like that. This boy's just came back as well for the hamstring thing and all that. We want a season out of him. We don't want to burn him out in the first game. So it's Hearts we're playing. Matondo should be able to handle, like I says, a Hearts defence, no bother. And if he can, then like you says, mate, let's get him shipped out as soon as possible.
Aye, you'd like to think so. AK, I just don't. I'd like to hope he'll start Cortez, maybe give him 60, 70 minutes, and then just take him off. Like you say, probably have to protect him, AK, just for the fitness side of it. But I think you would get more out of Cortez in 45 minutes even than you get out of Matondo in the first 45 minutes, if I'm honest. And that's me just thinking back to just watching Cortez since he's just come back, what he was like before, to what we've seen Matondo since he's been here.
Aye, well, you look at it, I mean, Cortez is our player. You know, we've committed to the obligation to buy already for next year, so he's the future that'll come once he's here. Matondo isn't the future. Sima wasn't the future, unfortunately, because he was here on their own, same as Silva was. So we've got to put a wee bit more faith in the guys that, you know, give the permanent contract to. We've done that with Diamondi, we've done that with Cortez, so they're the guys that we're going to have to kick on now with. So we've got to get behind them and give them more game time. Obviously, they've got their own personal responsibility to get their fitness up as quickly as possible and to show why they're at the club and why we're giving the wage and why we're spending the money. I'm with you though, pal. Matondo, Cantwell. We need to try and get all these big earners out the club. We've already done it with Lundstrom and Goldson and, you know, guys of that ilk. We need to get that wage bill down, and I think that is a factor in where players are going to play in the future for the role for the team in the future. So now Cortez for me.
Right, the conundrum, the right flank. If our new signing doesn't start, I think it's a cert, GB, that Matondo plays on the right.
Dare I say this guy's name?
Scott, it's Scott Wright, isn't it?
Oh, mate, honestly, if it is, then what I say, it's just, he's got to get picked into it. He's like one of these players that just has to be in that team sheet for some reason. But what I say, please, Scott Wright, if it is you tomorrow, mate, go out and show us this player that we've been waiting to see. He's got bits and bobs outside, but my God, I'm happy that we've got this other signing in for that right side, because I can't stand another season watching Scott Wright on that right wing, running down and then fumbling at the last minute. I want to see some quality on that right side. I've been waiting for it since Caixinha days. So let's see that boy as quick as possible.
Listen, he was teasing us during that pre-season. This is what I can do sometimes, no? When he's scoring the goal and that, but no.
Hello.
I'd like, hold on. Bob Ger, how are you, pal?
I'm doing all right, pal. How's yourself?
Aye, all right, mate. Looking forward to tomorrow. Excited about Tynecastle tomorrow, start of a new season. And
absolutely.
3 points,
absolutely.
Mate.
I'd like to think there's a good degree of optimism running through the club now, like there was sort of 10 days ago, you know. So, are you pleased with the signing of the centre half?
Aye, Bob Ger, aye. If you were, I'll pass you on to you.
I'm pleased with the fact the man signed for another 4 years.
We were talking about that earlier, Bob Ger. I'll let you hear EK's thoughts and then GB on that, the manager signing and the new centre back.
No, I'm interested in Bob Ger's thoughts on that too. But no, as you said there, I'm pleased with the centre half. The age that he's come in, he's experienced, he's a leader, captain maybe in the future. Journey, excited there. You just need to get these guys up to fitness, get their paperwork clear. But I'm also pleased Clermont signed for an extra 4 year. He's all in with us, Bob Ger. So, let's see where he takes us.
His comments were great today. He said so much he loved the club, loved being at the place, just everything in general, like he said. So we says, well, Mr. Clermont, one of us, you're a teddy bear, you fell in love with the Rangers. Let's all as supporters, you as a manager and the players as players, do our best for the club this year and see how we go on, how we go on.
I think he signed a year extension, Bob Ger, his original contract to give him up to the 4 year. The board believe in him. He's got a track record. He knows how to win league titles. And now it's just about the board financing some more money, which they have got. It's just we're tied now with the financial fair play thing, but you can see there's money there. There's money available. It's just we do need to get rid of a couple other players, but just to get the wage bill done, for the reason being, if you sign them and put them on wages, it puts the bill up. Plus, it goes on your turnover, as we've spoken about on here before, Bob Ger. Mm-hmm. But end of the day, we're all looking for extra new signings coming in. And GB said earlier as well, he seems to be happy. I'll let you hear what GB thinks. And when the manager as well getting the extension, Bob Ger.
Yep.
Aye, Bob Ger, it's GB. I think it's funny how the manager was saying that he wants the experienced signings in, and I didn't expect him to sign himself. But it's good that, like he says, it's created that stability now in the club. I think we all know that he's here for 4 years. There's most of the signings that he's made himself are signing up for 4 years. So he knows this has got to be a long-term project. So, as you said, mate, we've got to get behind it now. Can't be calling for managers' heads and all that. We've just got to ride this out and let the man build a team.
No. It's only proof to me that recently all this nonsense that was getting talked about with the manager walking away, and I even heard an idiot say to me the club was going back into administration. That's not happening. None of that's happening. It's onwards and upwards for the Jersey. I think so. And
People
start
get-
for the Mora, because I do believe we'll win the Mora. There you go. That's how optimistic I am.
People get bored there the summer, Bob J or no, and
They do.
And
Aye.
it's a thing of the internet, Twitter and everything else, you know, people just say something and people latch on it. Listen, we're seeing them get signings in. We're a bit more optimistic, I'd like to think. The majority of the supporter, you know, the manager's all in here. He wants to get success. He wants to be successful. The fact that he says he wants to be here and his family's probably settled here as well now. But at the end of the day, he's got to be successful. And it's down to the players. And I think the Mora, when we go to Tynecastle, it should be a hard game. You expect a hard game when you play for Glasgow Rangers. Everybody's up against you. They want to beat you. But I'd like to think the Mora, I think we'll get the job done comfortably. The Mora, Bob J, I really do.
Well, I think so. I think we'll get the job done. Well, as I said, a wave of optimism's come out of all of a sudden to the circumstances with the manager and the people that he signed and the people that went out the club had their time at Rangers. We all know that. I hear them saying on the TV or in the media, big hitters have left Rangers. These people had their time. We all know who they are. I don't need to quote them. And he's getting people in there, fresh faces. It's going to make us better, get a better squad. Everything seems to have settled down at long last. Because you say summer, and they've got to still go to sell papers and have opinions, and everybody gets fed up, and we're waiting on the season. Well, here we are. It's the eve of the season. We're in a good place, in a better place than we were a few weeks ago, and let's go for it. Some of that play last Saturday in Berlin, from middle to front, was absolutely brilliant. If we can get the back sorted at the Mora, I think we'll be hemming dry at Tynecastle Mora, a good one. No, that sloggy a defeat at Kilmarnock last season. I think we'll do better than that at the moment. I certainly hope so, anyway.
Aye, well, hopefully Kilmarnock will get the result on the Sunday like they did the season before, and that'll be, you know. Aye. But, no, but we're just going through the team, Bob J, what we thought it would be, and we'd come back to it. We were thinking that the Mora, probably Butland, Tav, Ridvan. We've went for Suter and Davis, I believe, if we think we'd all like property play, obviously, but we think it could be that. And we had Diamandi and Barron in the midfield. We've got Cortez on the left, and we were looking at that right side, and if it's no Czerny, who would you think it'll be the more you'll see playing the right-hand side, Bob J?
Probably be Scott Wright.
That's what we were thinking as well.
Aye.
And I think up front, guys, I think we can all agree it'll be CD9, unless somebody's got any other ideas. I've seen Danilo.
Better be CD3.
CD9?
All depends on Danilo's fitness. I don't think it's there yet. So I will be CD9, aye. But apparently he's on his way and all. Is it PAOK Salonika? I don't know. They're supposed to be having talks with the interim or something. I don't know.
I think that was rumoured a week or two, maybe back, Bob J, but I don't think anything's came out. Listen, I don't see Danilo starting the Mora GB.
No.
I think it'll be CD9. I just don't see anybody taking his place right now, and I just don't think Danilo. Seen flashes and bits. And we've seen the good bits, and we've seen some bad bits as well. Let's not be kidded. He's missed a few sitters as well, and I don't think he's anywhere near ready to come in and start. Do you, GB?
No, totally agree, mate. He's come back for that injury. They said near the end of the season he was back in training, and it's continued throughout this pre-season. He's still not been able to get up to that level yet. So he is building towards it, granted, but when you look at Dessers and stuff like that, unfortunately, he's the one that's been technically on form. And at the weekend, he showed what his potential is, that he can score actually really good goals, Dessers. So if that Dessers turns up that played against Union Berlin tomorrow, then we're on to a winner. But if the one that played against the Ajax, then it's going to be a long slog. But Dessers all day long gets a nod.
Yeah, I don't think... Listen, I watched Danilo when he came in, scored a couple of good goals. He came, and I'll come to you, Bob J. He came, he looked all right. He looked as if he was willing to work hard for the team. but a couple of times you get yourself into some new good positions, and they just hit the goalkeeper or blast it out of the bar, and you're thinking, here, wee man, you cost a few quid here. I'm looking for more than that off you, you know.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, to me, the two of them were much of the muchness, him and CD9. So, well, we didn't have Danilo for the majority of last season, and it is seemingly, well, I don't know if he's up to putting a shot, but he shouldn't be far away. And if he does get a start, yeah, absolutely, it costs the club a few bob and he's on a hefty wage. So we're looking for more than that. We're looking for him to produce more. That's how he's brought in for. We'll see if he gets to sing a game, so what he can do. Or they bring in somebody else, I don't know. But no, we're looking for more for Danilo. I totally agree with that. And I hope he can produce it, the boy.
AK?
I've just got some breaking news here for everyone. Got a text there off my pal to say that John Bennett has met Warren Shanklin in the Hart Hill services tonight at the Burger King. He's got a Whopper and a blue jersey for him or a yard dancer.
Well, I think if we all agree, if that's roughly what we think the starting team will be tomorrow, ideally I would like to see Czerny and I would like to see Robin Proper in the team. I'd like to see the two of them tomorrow, but if it's not to be, I'd like to think one of the two will at least be on the bench. I think we can all agree, I think we need, going forward, GB, I think we need another 6, 10 and a 9 and another centre-back. I would want another centre-back. If he's going to play left, I want somebody else right, I know. But I think 6, 10 and 9, would you agree they're the next positions to be filled?
The 6 and the 9, if they had to do it quickly, I would go with the 6 and the 9, mate. And that's purely because, like you've mentioned earlier, we've got Diamande and we've got boys that can fill the 10
Evening,
now.
guys.
Oh, there we go.
All right, John, how are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad. I've missed half the show. Well, nearly all of the show, actually. I thought it was Thursday.
Well, we're getting near the end. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I wanted you. I heard your callers talking about Clement and Army of the Moons. He's signed in it. He's extended his contract. I feel that can only be good for us, eh? But my thoughts, or I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on Tavernier. What's happening with him?
All right. Well, since you've asked the question, I'll go to AK and then it'll be GB and then it'll be Bob Jair, who's on the night with. So I'll like to hear what they've got to say on Tav quickly.
Thank you.
Aye, no bother. Nice to hear from you again, John. Tavernier.
Aye.
I don't know where you sat on him. He's divisive a wee bit now, Tav. The longevity's been there. You know, his numbers are very impressive. You can't deny that. But the trophy count is... And unfortunately, that's where a lot of your support will label him for no being a success at the club. Maybe that's unfair on him. But for me, I think you've got to try and get a freshness, a fresh attitude. He carries a lot of mental baggage in there, and it's just maybe his time. Clement's a new manager, new ideas. You want his own players in there. We've had who did we have? Gio after Gerrard and then Bale, and they're all working with different players in that. So I think the more Clement's players that he gets to work with in the team and cuts out the rest of them, gets the wage bill down, I think that's the way to progress the club going forward.
He certainly seemed to change a bit last season. I mean, once that Clement got that team on its way,
Aye.
I felt that Tavernier upped his game. But at the same time, he was taking a naughty stick for some of the supporters.
Aye, I know he has. Listen, it's been like that way. It's been like that with him, John. No, I'll go to GB and he'll give his thoughts, and then Bob Gerald come in after that, and then I'll give you what I think in Tav as well. On you go, GB.
John, just quickly for me, I think Tavernier's here to stay. I think that's him. Now, after that interview with RTV, I think when you look at the start of the pre-season, he was hanging about with Todd Cantwell during pre-season, and he wasn't featuring in anything. He wasn't doing any interviews. He wasn't really taking part in the kind of wee snippets that you were getting for pre-season. It was all about kind of Jack Butland and like Suter and stuff like that. And I thought that was the writing on the wall for him going out the door. But see, since really the game with Union Berlin, and then obviously this interview with RTV, I think it's kind of something's changed. Something's either his mindset's been kind of changed to say, I'm going to be hanging about, and the manager's kind of accepted it, or like I says, the bids have just not been good enough to take him away for Rangers. And I think now they're kind of settling into the fact that he's got to be here for the rest of the season now.
Aye.
Bob J, what's your thoughts on Tav?
Yeah, it's a bit of an enigma with the support with the rest of us. I really don't know how to put my finger on Tav, on his situation, rather. To me, he wouldn't have been playing more of Dijon Sterling had he been fit, because I think he's going to be settled right back once he gets fit. Sorry, and Tavernier, to me, he's not got the same feeling for the club anymore. I think he thought he was going to get the big move out to Saudi, outside Gerrard, loads of money, and it never materialised. I think he's kind of disappointed to the fact that he's still at Rangers. So I think the only reason he's in the team is because Sterling's no fit. And as John said, he was taking a hell of a stick off the support, and he's aware of that. He's no the fans' favourite that he used to be. And but as you recognise right back at the moment, we'll just have to go with him. But I don't think Tav will be there Christmas time. I think he'll be away. That's only my opinion. I may be wrong.
Well, listen, I said the other night, I don't think the Saudi thing with Golston or him was everyone. I just thought it was just people trying to make up a story and just kept going with it. And as it's proved, Golston's went to Saudi. No saying Tav couldn't, but I still don't think he was, and I don't think it was ever on the cards. And just my opinion, I think, I said the other night, does he need to be the next player out the door? I thought no, because I don't know if Sterling will stay fit in the right back position when he's given a chance. I think we could use Sterling possibility stopgap again as a 6 in certain games, no all games, but certain games. I think you could have used him in there if he was fit, and Tab would have went to right back. Bob J, I think if somebody comes in January with a bid, he might go. It's his testimonial year. I think he's been a great servant. He's got his faults. He's not looked great at the start of the season. He's not looked really good at all, to be honest. But none of them have in pre-season, really, apart from Scott Wright, who's been on the score sheet. But the team's looked a bit better for the Union Berlin game. So for me, if nobody comes in for Tav, I think he could have a good season for as long as he's there, because he'll not be playing every week, and you might get the performances out of him going forward. So I don't know what you think of that, John.
I mean, I must admit, I never thought myself he would go to Saudi. He didn't want to go. Tavernier didn't want to. That's my personal opinion. He didn't want to up his family and whatever and go out there. And you came what it's like. You get all the different stories, and the newspapers all print this and that, and Gerrard will be putting his bid in for him and whatever. And I say, come the 18th there, July was it, when the window opened for her there. Nothing. Not a thing. So, as I say,
a lot of money, short career, John.
Sorry?
A lot of money in a short career, then.
That's right.
Listen, Tav's been a standout at times. You know, you look at his goals, his assists, his European record. He's scored vital goals in qualifiers, even to keep us in Europe. He's had some ropey moments in Europe and all, where he's cost a couple of goals here and there over the periods of time. Listen, still, for what we bought him for the time he's been here, there was nobody more happier than me when we're getting 55 and I knew Tav was going to lift the trophy, because I think he deserved to lift it for the time he's been at the club. He's in the Hall of Fame. I think you should have if you were putting him in, I think you should have put him in after his career at Rangers was finished. But that aside, he's looked ropey, seemingly carrying an injury. There's speculation about him. But overall, I just think if he's fit and he's still here, I think he'll play in a Rangers jersey, and hopefully his performances will pick up. That's what I would like to think anyway, going forward. Just quickly, we're doing a pre-match show tomorrow, and it'll start at 11:30. I think kick-off's 12:30, so we've got a pre-show tomorrow at 11:30 for everybody listening. AK, I think the Rangers put in the European squad. So would you like to guess who get put in the European squad quickly before we finish the show tonight?
Aye, absolutely. I had a wee look earlier, so I'll just name the squad. We've got 3 goalkeepers there. Butland, Kelly, and Budenaukas. I think that's the young boy in it. And then we've got Tav, Ridvan, Butler, Suter, Sterling, Yefti, Reese and Balogun. Midfielders, Cortez, Barron, Diamondi and Dowell. And our forwards are Dessers, Lawrence, Matondo, Cherny, Iganami, and I think that comes to 22 that's named there. I'm not sure whether it's 23 or possibly add to that as well. But that's the 22 that's been picked so far.
Aye, the only one I think Ignamani is the only one that nobody's featured or nobody's seen. GB is in the squad, so whether he's putting them in and he's naming them early, because I think you can only make 2 changes. I think you can make 2 changes after this round's done for the next one, and I think after that, that's it.
He must be thinking he's going to be coming back soon. Southside, he's been one of the signings that was bigged up to the hill and spent a fair bit of money on him, and next minute we've seen him at Ibrox. I think it was with his girlfriend, and then the next minute we've not seen or heard from him. I mean, it's been a bit of a strange signing. I'm hoping, like I says, that it comes good and they get to see him. But I don't think the manager's that silly to name him in a Champions League squad or a Europe squad for no reason. He must be thinking that he's got to be coming to contribute in some shape or form.
Aye, Bob J, it seems to be that apart from him and mostly everybody we thought would be in the European squads in that's available now, eh?
Aye. It was good to hear a fully fit squad anyway. And we'll just concentrate in the morning, folks, and get the 3 points that I'm sure we can get. Dynamo Kiev, they'll be a different animal, eh? I think we all know that.
Aye, it's a totally different game, Jonah. The more out of Tynecastle to your European nights.
Aye, I'm looking for the 3 points. I think I'm hoping they'll surprise us, Rangers. I think, come on, that's another week or so, and aye, I'm hoping for as I say, to see a change in them. I mean, the team.
Aye, okay. I think we will. Bob J, we're getting a bit of feedback for you. So when you hear me, if you can put your phone on mute, please. You can hear
I'll
a bit
tell you
in the
what,
background.
buddy. I've a feeling this Doug's away to misbehave. I'll sign off. Wish you all the best for tomorrow, and I'll hear from you later, eh? All the best, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bob J, thanks for
All the
phoning in,
best.
pal.
Cheers, Bob.
Aye, I think tomorrow, as we talked about, it's a different game of football. AK, what you play in the Premier League to what you try to play in Europe. We've watched it for many a year. The style's totally different. I think Stevie G tried to, at times, keep that same sort of style, and well, he did more or less keep the same sort of style in the league programme, but it is a different game of football straight away for the minute you kick the ball, because if you get away in Europe, it takes a while to get it back at times.
Aye, well, it's first game of the season. We found that out last year, Kilmarnock. They're going to be organised, they're going to be compact, and they're going to have a go in front of their own supporters. So we've got to match that endeavour and physicality that Hearts are going to bring to the table. But it's all about blood and thunder, isn't it? It doesn't matter how you play. The result is the most important thing, and coming away with 3 points is the vital start to the season that we're looking for. But no, looking forward to it. Did you get a ticket, by the way? Hope you did, to keep your record going.
I'll hopefully have won tomorrow, mate. See how it goes, but should have, hopefully. GB, it's like anything. It's the first game of the season, but we expect 3 points. It's like any other season, you know. You're at Rangers, and I'm sure he mentioned about educating them about the club and all that. So anybody that's selected tomorrow, any new boys that are selected tomorrow, which I don't think they will be, but you never know. They're getting flung in at the deep end, and they'll soon realise that it will be a good atmosphere tomorrow, but you'll soon see that it's all about winning, and we've got to get after that winning start. The mentality's got to be right, and the demands are there for the start.
For me, mate, the previous seasons with the last 3 managers, we've always kind of started a wee bit ropey in the first game of the season, and we've been up against it during this pre-season. Probably been kind of a wee bit downhearted as well with the kind of performances. And maybe this will be the season where we'll hit the ground running. Like I says, we'll go into the Mora and they'll totally surprise us. They'll totally probably go out and put in a brilliant performance. All these young boys that will just probably all click. All this hard work has probably paid off, because I think there maybe been a bit. They've been leggy because we've been getting run into the ground. I think Clement's wanted them fresh and ready for it, and hopefully, like I says, the Mora we get to see a fiery fighting teammate and 3 points. So I think, like I says, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised tomorrow.
Aye, I don't think. Well, what's your score prediction, BGB?
I'm going to go 2-0 to the Rangers tomorrow.
2-0. AK?
I know you hate giving goals away, but with that
you better you can't be giving a goal away. Super Jack's back.
Hearts 1, Rangers 3. Who me?
And who you got to tell the scores at?
Shankland for them.
Well, I thought you would die. John, you listening to this nonsense? What do you think, pal?
I am listening to it. I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm listening to it.
You'll score 1 for us, I know. And CD9 with a double.
3-1 to the Rangers.
You going to be a goal and all, John? All right.
Aye. 3-1 to the Rangers.
I was going for 3-0. I think it'll be 3-0 tomorrow.
Better, because anything that's goals for, that'll start getting the numbers up.
So apart from that, I suppose, I think if you look at it for a week ago, 10 days ago, as we've been doing the shows, a couple of days of the weeks, GB, it sounds like they've been working hard in the background. Some deals we've tried to get that we didn't get. Daniel Garcia decided not to come. There's another boy, can't remember his name, but there's a couple have knocked us back. The other boy came for a medical and then decided to go down to the Championship, I believe. So we've otherwise, if we'd managed to get the other signings, then we might have been in a better place going into this week. It's just unfortunate. It's the way football works, isn't it?
Yep, unforeseen circumstances. Southside, we can't control what players are wanting to do with their lives. I mean, it's just one of the things, and we are a club that's trying to buy on a budget and stuff and wait for players to move out. So I think we've done far better than what I expected. The way it was looking when I first came on the kind of start back shows, I was very, very concerned about how this season was going to look come the start of it. But going in now, we've got a bit of experience. We've got young, hungry boys. And Dessers showed a bit of class at the weekend, and so I think we should have plenty to deal with tomorrow. And like I says, we'll just need to keep building there the next couple of weeks, mate.
Aye, it's that. John, give us our final words because we're just about to wrap the show up.
Aye, they pull that jersey on the Mora with the badge, and I hope they all know exactly what it means.
Well said. I think the ones that might start tomorrow should have with plenty of practice. But no, John, thanks for phoning in as always. Appreciate it.
No bother.
To hear you on the night.
I'll set my alarm for the Mora.
There will be a pre-show tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning.
11:30,
Fox is absolutely delighted at that. Absolutely delighted. But anyway, AK?
I am sure Fox will be delighted. Not. Exactly. Thanks to Joan and Bob Jer coming on there. Yourself, GB, the techie team. Looking forward to tomorrow. My dad, I seen my dad earlier. He's like, I'll not be able to listen to 9 o'clock. I like to listen to Doc Martin first. So doing the right south side to my dad's itinerary.
That's all right, not to worry. Your dad speaks well when he comes on the show. GB, final thoughts, pal?
Thanks for having us on tonight, but and apologies for calling you Ox for half the night as well.
That's all right.
Big thanks to Alexis Zeki for joining us and everybody contributing to the show. Have a good day tomorrow, Bears.
Godfather will be back on tomorrow for the pre-show, so we'll be back to normal. But first of all, I'd like to thank John and Bob Jer for taking the time to phone in. I'd like to thank everyone else who was out there this evening that was listening to the show. And I'd like to thank you too for helping us out. It's muchly appreciated. You know, it's like you've got to come on and do a show and that. And I thoroughly enjoyed the night. I'd like to have got more callers in, but everybody's busy, probably excited about tomorrow. So looking forward to tomorrow. There is a pre-show again at 11:30 start tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have 3 points in the bag. So one team, one Crown Rangers. Let's do this. Take it away, Foxy boy.